Hello, Miami University and all Oxford community. I'm Grace.
And I'm Caroline, your co-host for tonight's show. Welcome back to Miami Television News.
Homecoming weekend at Miami is October 7th through the 9th. This year, Miami and the city of Oxford have planned many events, including the return of the Homecoming Parade, the first ever Oxtoberfest, and of course, the Miami football game against Kent State. Tailgating for the big game starts at 9 a.m. and kickoff is at 3. Go Redhawks! Miami University lectures series have started for the year, and they have caught the attention of many students in the past month. Most recently, students had a chance to meet with Hank Green, a well-known author, content creator, and mentor to many students. MTN was able to get an exclusive interview with Hank Green before he went on stage Monday night.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie Knorr.
And I'm Reed Mann. Thank you for tuning into Miami Television News.
Today we are joined by Hank Green, a host of Crash Course and SciShow, the New York best-selling author of An Absolutely Remarkable Thing and A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor, and the founder of Complexly Subbable, DFTBA.com, and VidCon, which was acquired by Viacom in 2018. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So you have been making things on the internet since the early 90s, and now you are the host.
Oh my God, you're right, I have. I was like gonna fact check you, but oh no, you're right.
And now you are the host of 2 video-based educational programs. What got you interested in creating video content, and why educational?
The video was because it felt so new and important. It felt like, so in the early days of online content, text was there, and I was in high school and I was sort of too young to be a big part of that. But video really wasn't accessible. Like the bandwidth wasn't there. And so I was old enough that as that was starting to happen, I was, in my 20s, and I could definitely actually be a part of it. And then when we decided to start making educational content was really the first time that someone came to us and said, what would you do if you had money to make higher quality content on YouTube? And YouTube did that for a few creators. And we had a lot of ideas, but then we had started to do, at that time we had made a lot of YouTube videos. We had sort of a reason to make a lot of YouTube videos, which was that we had told our audience that we would. And so when you have to make hundreds of YouTube videos, you do whatever. And some of the videos had been intentionally and had been clearly educational. I did a video on the circulatory system, and John did one on the French Revolution. And they were really popular, and we liked it, and they did well, but they were hard to make. So the problem was we didn't have the resources to do it. So when Google/YouTube said, what would you do if you had more money? That's what we told them we'd do. We pitched them SciShow and Crash Course, and they gave us money to make them both. And then after a couple of years, they were self-sustaining.
If you're watching the show on YouTube, the link to the full Hank Green interview is in the description below. MTN will be back with another exclusive interview in November when chef and model Cara Hall visits as the next lecture speaker.
The beginning of the semester brought COVID-19 concerns back into the minds of many university higher-ups. When the school year started, the community level for contracting COVID-19 was measured as high risk. On September 1st, the university announced that Butler County has moved to low risk. Throughout this monitoring, masking was never made required by the university, but was instead strongly recommended. The COVID response team announced they would continue to monitor the virus as we move into the colder months, but the university is not planning on implementing a new mask mandate for the rest of the academic year.
Ohio midterm elections are right around the corner, with Election Day taking place on November 8th. With a little over 60% of the student population being native Ohio residents, MTN took to the streets of campus to ask Miami students if they were registered to vote, and if they felt this election was important to participate in.
With Ohio's midterm election coming up on November 8th, Miami Television News is asking Ohio students if they're up to date on candidates for this election and what election race is most important on this ballot.
Yeah, I do. I think midterm elections are extremely important, and I think after, a lot of the recent stuff that's been happening in our country, we're kind of the generation that needs to be drawing attention, and a lot of that is at the state level, for state senate representatives, and even nationally. So I think it is important for us to have our voice and spread awareness about things.
One, I think we are the future. As a bunch of 20-somethings, I think we have the ability to change the future and mold it into what we want our lives to be like, and for our children and et cetera, if we decide to have kids. Yeah, even if you aren't a resident in Ohio, because as a Miami student, and if you're here, for the 3, 4, 5 years that you're here, I feel like the legislation that is passed in Ohio still affects you because you are currently residing in the state. So, yeah.
I feel like it's all equally important because it's all going to have an impact. Like I said, it goes from the bottom up. So we need to make sure that we are investing in every single part of the political process that we can.
I think I would like to say they're all equally important. I feel like governor and the more higher up might be more important logistically. But I do think that like every position has a role and that needs to be filled and is, holds value. Like, I think it's important that you vote for all of them.
I feel like they all hold the same weight, especially in the year 2022. But if you don't vote for anything, at least go vote for a governor, because I feel like we got to start somewhere. If you're thinking big, that's one of the bigger, more important, like political offices. But I do think they all hold, and Supreme Court also hold very significant weight politically.
And now, over to Stephen, along with new reporters Andrew and Owen for sports.
Thank you, Grace. I'm Stephen Pepper, and I'm excited to deliver sports today, as we at MTN have new members joining the sports team. Let's start first on the gridiron. It is time for MACtion. The MAC East preseason favorite Redhawks opened conference play at Buffalo last Saturday. Unfortunately, they suffered a tight 20-24 loss. Buffalo scored the first points of the game, but Miami redshirt freshman QB Avion Smith quickly responded by juking the Bulls defense for a 73-yard touchdown, making it 7-7. Smith took advantage of the Bulls' poor run defense, carrying the rock 12 times for an outstanding 142 yards and 2 scores. Athleticism is not the problem for Brett Gavrett's backup. His ability to attack opponents with his arm is not quite there yet. The Hawks defense forced 3 straight punts at one point, but Smith responded with punt, and a near pick 6, which set up Buffalo with another easy goal line touchdown to go up 14-7. And fans have even noticed that this guy can't really throw. I mean, I've had people tweet at me to ask Coach Martin to find a new QB who can throw. In his last 3 starts, Smith is completing less than 50% of his passes, with a 3-2 TD to interception ratio. Back to the game, a Graham Nicholson field goal with 3 minutes to go in the second sent the Hawks to the locker room down 4. Following a Bulls field goal in the third, Smith used his legs again to score a game-tying touchdown. Then Buffalo fumbled, and Nicholson drilled a 3-point try to go up 20-17. Then the defense forced another turnover, and I'm over here thinking, here come the Redhawks. But according to Coach Martin, their lead was not extended enough. The offense stalled in the last quarter, failing to capitalize off their momentum, leaving for the opportunity for Bulls QB Cole Snyder to drop a 15-yard dime with 31 seconds left for the go-ahead score. The Redhawks are now 2-3 overall and 0-1 in the MAC. The squad looks to get to 500 in both records with a win over Kent State this Saturday. The Hawks are back at Yager Stadium after playing 4 out of 5 on the road. This is a big homecoming weekend game, so go out, watch the game with alumni at 3:30, or if you're going home for fall break, catch the match on ESPN+. Andrew?
Thanks, Steven. I'm Andrew, and I'm super excited to be here, give you all the latest news on sports at Miami. It's a fun time to be a Red Hawk fan, with Miami officially starting their ice hockey season this past weekend. Last year, the young Miami crew finished with a 7-29-2 overall record and are looking for a rebound season with added upperclassmen experience and heightened expectations. It's looking like it's going to be another memorable season for the Miami hockey team. The Red Hawks, they are highlighted by upperclassmen P.J. Fletcher, Jack Clement, and the brick wall in net that is Ludwig Pearson. Other Red Hawks to watch out for are freshman phenom Artur Taransky and a man on a mission, that is star Red Savage, who is expecting a much different season here in Oxford. As for the season opener, both games would provide us with no shortage of highlights. The first game, which was the most competitive, and fun to watch saw Miami fall to Ferris State in a shootout 3-2. The Red Hawks never quit despite this energized Ferris State Bulldogs team really putting it on them early on after getting the first goal, which happened early on in the second quarter off a power play chance. Miami would tie it up about 7 minutes later with a goal from junior Matthew Borbellini. Ferris State would get its second goal on the day early in the third period, but it would be Joe Cassetti, the senior, who puts the team on his back and equalizes the contest at 2-2 with 45 seconds left to go in the third period. Miami, unfortunately, would fall in a shootout with Ferris State goalie Logan Stein having himself a day. The second game was a completely different result, which saw Miami knocking off the Bulldogs of Ferris State 4-1. The Red Hawks would start off early with a goal from senior Jack Olmstead. The scoring continued with a goal from Jack Borbellini, getting goal number 2, giving the Red Hawks a 2-0 advantage at the end of the first period. Ferris State came knocking back and they cut the lead in half by scoring a goal on the power play. But about 2 minutes after a Bulldogs goal, Joe Cassetti again would score his second goal of the season to give Miami a 3-1 lead off of the power play. Entering the third period, who else but Red Savage, the man, would all but ice it for the Red Hawks by scoring a shorthanded goal, which would all but give Miami a 4-1 victory. After a successful weekend of Miami hockey here in Oxford, the Red Hawks would travel out to Massachusetts to open up a 2-game series against the UMass Lowell Riverhawks at the Tsongas Center. Game 1 will take place this Friday at 7:15 p.m. and Game 2 will get underway on Saturday at 6:05 p.m. Owen, on to you.
Thanks, Andrew. Hey everyone, I'm Owen Simmerning, and I'm here to bring you the latest in Miami field hockey news. The Red Hawks are off to a respectable 7-4 start to the season as we near the halfway point of the year. The Hawks are a scorching 6-0 at home, while they're struggling on the road a little bit, starting off 1-4. Currently, they are ranked number 27 in the NCAA Women's Field Hockey Rankings, with wins over other ranked opponents like The Ohio State University. Over the past weekend, the Red Hawks defeated Appalachian State Mountaineers by a score of 3-2 on the backs of 2 goals by Negrete Garcia and another by Peña Martinez. The 3 first quarter goals was all the scoring they needed to improve to 3-0 in MAC play. Garcia scored first on a penalty corner early, and Martinez followed with another penalty corner minutes later. Finally, on another penalty corner, Garcia increased the score to 3. Appalachian State answered with 2 goals in the second quarter, but both teams were held scoreless the rest of the way. Macy McHale was rewarded for her talented efforts on the field this weekend, earning MAC Defensive Player of the Week. She was an intricate piece to the Red Hawks defense, holding steady for the second half of the game, leading to a victory. On the docket next for the Red Hawks is a trip to Farmville, Virginia, where they will face the Longwood Lancers at 6 p.m. Friday night. This is followed by a Sunday game versus the Virginia Cavaliers, who are ranked number 5th in the nation. This is followed by a return to Oxford, where they play Kent State next week. Now, we're going to switch to MTN member Edward Orzik, who will interview Miami hockey star Red Savage.
Thanks, Owen. So, Red, what are your thoughts about the opening series for the Red Hawks?
Yeah, it was definitely a good weekend. We wish we would have started a little bit better on Saturday night with a win, but we thought we played well both games, and we definitely deserved the win the second night.
Take me through that shorthanded goal. How did that happen?
Yeah, it was a good play by my line mate PJ Fletcher. He made it an interception on a pass and was able to launch me into a breakaway, which was just a great setup, and I was able to finish it.
Last year, you were drafted by the Detroit Red Wings. What was that like?
Yeah, it was definitely surreal. With the COVID and everything, the draft was online, so I was able to stay at home with my parents during it, and we all watched it in the backyard with my brothers and my parents and everything. So it was definitely a pretty surreal experience going to my hometown team. I live in Detroit right now, so it was definitely a best opportunity for me, and I'm forever grateful for them choosing me.
So what's the game plan going into the UMass Lowell game this weekend?
Yeah, they're going to be a big, heavy team. They've won a lot in the past, so we know that they're going to be pretty battle tested, and we're just excited to get there, have an away game for the first time this season, and try to get some wins under our belt.
Thanks for coming in, Red. Back to you, Grace.
Thanks, Edward.
On Thursday, September 22nd, author and actress Jeanette McCurdy visited Miami to give a talk about her recently released memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died. This was McCurdy's first university visit on her book tour, and students were very excited. Tickets for the event sold out within 2 minutes of going live. How does Miami activities and programming get guests like Jeanette to visit Miami? Check out our next show for more information on MAP and their upcoming events. That's all we have for today. Thank you for tuning in to Miami Television News. Be on the lookout for more Miami news in the weeks to come. I'm Caroline.
And I'm Grace. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at MiamiMTN and check out our YouTube page at Miami Television News-MTN.